This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
Ooh, hey, Partnership Podcast. This podcast, a little tip of the cap to the ladies. We're focusing on the female-centered orgasm and the difference between oral and penetrative orgasms, as well as the difference between clitoral and vaginal stimulation. Enjoy.
We have so many incredible artists in this time. It's really cool. Honey, what are we talking about today? Did you come prepped with another surprise topic brought to you by
Pfizer.
No, by you.
God, I'd take that Pfizer money in a heartbeat, though.
No, you wouldn't.
If they were coming, because they come with bags, honey. It's like Live Golf, where they come with bags.
You like to pretend that you have no soul.
No, I don't like to pretend that I have no soul. I'm just saying, if Pfizer wanted to write us a check for $250K,
you wouldn't do it. You are so anti-big pharma.
200. I'd take their money, though. No, I'd sell out very quickly.
Nope.
If it were all above board,
nope.
all I'd have to do is go brought to you by Pfizer.
No.
The good people at Pfizer?
No, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. But I'm glad to know.
Honey, no, please, hear me. I'd 100% do it. I'd sell out so fast. Anyway, let's get back to this one.
To this unsponsored podcast brought to you by the time and investment of Lauren and Trey.
That's much more accurate.
Brought to you by Trey one day saying, babe, these are great conversations. We should put them on a podcast.
Oh, that's the name of the vaccine,
and
Trey
here we
one day.
are almost 60 podcasts later, 60 shared podcasts later, almost. I think this is 59. And guess what we just hit? 10,000 plays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Viewers and listeners.
Viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much.
So nice that 10,000 times you have listened to us talk.
Do you think one person has listened 10,000 times? Because that's what it...
Yeah, that's what it is. No,
that's what it
you
sounded
saw
like
our
you said.
Spotify Wrapped. We have we're in some people's, we're in 125 people's top 5 podcast.
Okay, educate me. Is a Wrapped a playlist? Is that what a Wrapped is?
Okay, I don't know what a Wrapped really is. I just know at the end of the year, Spotify does this thing where they put together for somebody who has listened, who has consumed music, your top listens, how long you listen to whomever. I'm sure your Spotify did it for you in 2023.
The Wrapped is a very new term for me.
Well, it's all wrapped up, the end of the year all wrapped up. WRAPPED.
Okay.
Wrapped up.
Got it.
I don't know what it really means, y'all. You can tell us in the captions or the comments or whatever it's called here. I don't know.
Cool.
But they do one for producers of podcasts too. So they made one for us that was these are your audience stats. Mm-hmm. Trey's chair is turned slightly differently. Please tell me everybody saw
Going with it.
He's adjusting. Okay, so I'll throw something out to you and we don't have to talk about it, but a thing I get often with clients is this concept that they didn't know that people with vulvas and vaginas don't typically orgasm from penetration alone. And they have a really hard time justifying to themselves, and these are people in female bodies with vulvas usually, that it's okay to ask for their partner to pleasure them in different ways other than this type of sex.
She's holding her one finger up above her head, and then the other one represents one's a hole and one's a finger, and she just keeps kind of aggressively pounding it in.
I wish I had my puppets, but yes, aside from pounding, thrusting, you guys have got the end. You got it. If I had $1 for every time somebody goes, oh, it's okay, it's normal that I don't orgasm just from that alone, I would be a wealthy sex educator, and I'm only been in business a couple of years. Okay. And it is such a common misconception. So since I get to have sex with you, lots, I'd like to talk about... Well, I was just thinking the other day, because we were talking about this. Well, happy Valentine's Day, first of all. This
happy
is going to come out. Yeah. You my Valentine. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, we will reflect back to the first time we had sex.
Penetrative sex?
Whoops, are supposed to be casual.
Penetrative intercourse?
I'm trying to tell a story. The first time... This is going to be a great podcast. The first time we met in San Diego, when we went on our casual date that was not really supposed to amount to anything, and we had great sex that night, all night into the morning type of thing. It is very common for people with vulvas and vaginas to not orgasm in their first penetrative sex encounter, their sexual encounter with a partner with a penis. And that's because of this elusive thing called an orgasm gap. But I think it's mostly because of lack of education on the for the other person who's engaging with this person, because statistics show that left alone to her own devices, a lady can make herself come very quickly. It's when you put her with a sexual partner that orgasm achievement, which I hate that word, becomes much more difficult. But do you mind talking about kind of our first sexual encounter and how maybe you learned that women don't just come from this?
I learned that like 6 months ago. So our first sexual encounter was in 2019. So maybe I just like luck of the draw. You know how you go to Vegas, you roll the dice, and sometimes you hit a bunch. I think might have just been what it is. I slipped, fell, and
whoops,
you orgasmed.
No. I'll expand then if you're not going to cough it up. We had
first night I was coughing it up, honey, because we had penetrative and oral sex.
That's what I was going to get to. Is that do
we
you remember
did both
the orgasms that I had first? Do you remember how I achieved those?
Oral sex, penetrative sex. Oral sex?
I think it was oral penetrative, but yeah.
Okay.
How did you know to not just lick the vulva and then be done?
6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot. Oh.
Wait, is that the fruit by the foot?
No, it just reminded me lick. Anyway.
Let me set this up a little better. I am hearing a lot right now that people with penises are giving oral sex like this. Lick. I went down on you.
Like just a couple of licks.
And it's done.
Like a Tootsie Roll
It's
pop.
like 20 seconds of oral. And we're done.
Okay.
How did you know not to be like, lick, kiss? There we go. Wonderful. You've been prepped and primed, and that's all the oral you get. Thank you. Because this is...
How did I not know that?
How did you know not to do that?
Who comes to doing that? I'm trying to make this bitch come.
And by bitch, he means me.
So yeah, you gotta start the job and then you gotta finish it.
But how did you learn this?
I don't know, through sexual experience. I have no idea. I don't know.
Like, how did you get these magical powers? I'm literally
magical
asking.
powers is like staying down there for 10 minutes and like kind of finding a rhythm. Okay. Is that what a magical power is?
I'm literally curious because you didn't go to sex ed with sex ed for you.
No. No, I haven't been certified by you for sexual education.
Okay, so you came to this information. Haha.
This is our last podcast. I hope all of you have enjoyed these 59. We're not getting to 69. Go ahead, baby.
We should do a special podcast at 69. You came to this information on your own. I am curious if it was trial and error.
Built a sexual acumen or being able to perform sexually to make a woman come with my mouth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I built that practice on my own from the ground floor up.
Were there times in your sexual history where you did just do lick? No. Did you've always spent more time giving attention to the beautiful vulva?
Yes, I've always enjoyed it though too. Like I've enjoyed giving oral sex.
Okay.
So I've talked to men where they don't enjoy it, and same thing with women, where they don't enjoy performing oral sex for whatever reasons. And I've always had positive experiences with it for the most part.
Okay. How did you know what I was enjoying?
I guess it's so easy thing is moans or reading your body motion. Those are the easy things because I don't think we had the comfort of verbally saying, hey, I like this, you know, we met each other in person like, 3 hours prior. So, yeah, I guess those two things where it was like positive feedback as far as your body movements and I guess your moaning. But also you could have been faking it.
I could have, and that's on me. And I really, you know, I want to unpack this part too, but like, I really wanted to push in here because I think the reason I went to that sexual encounter is that we didn't have the level of communication that we have now, right? Like, and so you ask me this all the time, like, how do you start? And so I wanted to go back to a time when we didn't know each other as well, felt like we did, but we really didn't. And yeah, you know, let's talk like practicality. Sometimes it can be exhausting to provide oral sex for a long time.
Your jaw gets tired.
It does. How do you push through? Where do you go mentally to perform such a feat?
I want to provide like a climax for this person. Yeah. Yeah, I want this person to like explode sexually. So almost like a workman-like attitude.
Yeah.
I just get my lunch pail, put on my hard hat.
It's really sexy. Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's effective. Because it is work. I think
It's not lick, and then you're done. And then you have to kind of find okay, all right. So it's literally like a dance. So, and then you'll find certain things that you're doing either with your hands or your mouth. And then you get a whole lot of feedback, like from you. You're not verbally saying it, but say like moans, or you get feedback from the body where the body, it goes into these like different places. And then you kind of push into that. And then, okay, so a common thing is to say when you think a person's getting closer to climax, to like change the rhythm or to speed it up to like, let's get there faster. It's almost like sprinting at the end of the race. Most likely don't do that unless you have experience with that person that really helps them. Generally, you want to just keep like a steady kind of flow. Then you find it's like a dance partner. So you find the rhythm with the other person when it comes to sex in general.
we're about to get to my role in those things because I do believe that we turn ourselves on and off. I do believe that we chase our pleasure. We are responsible for our orgasms. So I'm going to get to what I was doing in my body to achieve these orgasms. But didn't you, I remember you telling me at one point that you stumbled upon some lesbian porn, specifically on oral?
Yes.
Am I losing my mind? Did you tell me this? Yeah. Can you talk about that? And didn't you use it to study how to provide oral?
Yeah, it was, I think, like legendary porn star. I believe her name is Nina Hartley.
Okay.
And I think she's in her like 50s or 60s now. And yeah, she did a really informative video with another actress. And she was just going through, the biggest thing is like, you don't need to stimulate the clit directly. Stay on the outsides of the vulva, and then you can be firm, or you can grab on firmly, you can rub up and down, and this will like drive a woman crazy. So yeah, I stumbled on that.
You downplay the research that you have done, my dear.
I mean, that's, other than that, it's just been trial and error. And
yeah. How do you not get down on yourself as a... What are you laughing?
They'll get it. Whoever's listening will get it. Keep going.
When it doesn't go like as well as you wanted, right? When you can tell that a sexual partner is not really into it, how does that thought process go? Because I've never been a man providing oral for a woman. Yeah.
Oh,
have you ever sensed that? Like, oh, this isn't going well, even on me or on a different lover?
yes. Yeah, sure. Like, how have I...
Where do you go mentally? You know, like, I mean, we can use us, I guess, as an example.
This is hard for me too, because like, maybe in reality this didn't happen, but like, say if I could jump in the DeLorean and go back, I would be like, hey, I just like look up, you would see my head pop up, and I go, hey, checking in. Is there anything else I can like, dude, you want to like try something else? And so I would verbally probably communicate, like say, or like, is there a position or a shape? Does something feel extra good? I'd start using my words. Like if I thought that it wasn't going well. But probably in reality, I probably maybe switched it up.
Okay.
Where I stopped doing oral sex and we started doing other sex stuff.
Other sex stuff.
Yes.
Thank you for that clear communicatory explanation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so much more educated in like sex now than I ever have been in my life. So.
Okay, then fast forward to that where you just said, I don't know, like 6 months ago is when you figured out or when you learned that women don't just come through penetrative thrusting.
I learned that it's actually harder for women to come through penetrative thrusting, according to you, though. So I do have to rely on you. Like I haven't done any research, so it's like, well, my wife said that's what I'm basing all of this off of.
Kind of like
But I'm trusting that you're leading me down a positive road.
it's similar to like tire rotation. I'm trusting you that it's good to get the tires rotated.
Like if I go to an auto mechanic, yeah, I'm trusting. Yeah,
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good research backed
but I can't
information.
kick you.
You can kick the tire mechanic.
Well, I can't kick you to check for
off.
accuracy.
Have you ever had a woman lover who got uncomfortable with oral?
Yes, I've had a lover that I didn't perform oral sex on her, where she was completely fine performing oral sex on me.
And I just wanted to bring that up because, yeah, some people do have the dislike of it. And that is always an individual's right to unpack or not. Some of us have trauma surrounding that. Some of us are not at a place with their body neutrality that even feels comfortable. And yes, there are people like me in the world. Hey, shout out Sex Ed for you, that can help folks if they desire to. But yeah, some people just don't. And it's not our job to change somebody's mind. That could be more traumatic to be like forceful.
100%. Yeah, and you want to be respectful to that. We were dating each other casually, so it never got to the point where we like dove into that. But the sex did get boring.
I dated a male with a penis who wouldn't allow oral on him either. And it got boring. Like, I love the body.
Yeah.
And I think the body should be like worshipped and celebrated. And so to have like a no area, it was always like startling because I think the aroused mind does what the aroused mind does and it wants to explore and play and have fun. And yeah, that was funny.
I got one for you. I took a girl out once and we went back to her place and we got in the bedroom and I was about to go down on her and then she goes, "No, I only do that with my boyfriends."
Oh. Interesting. Okay.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. And of course I'm sex educating. Yeah. It most likely feels more intimate and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that is everybody's right. Totally. Is it a more sure way to orgasm and to be more aroused? Yeah. So it makes me sad for her in that moment, but also good for her in knowing her boundary and knowing that she saves that for something that's more intimate.
Okay. But like my cock inside of her with a condom
I know.
on? Like that's not...
But, everybody, it was interesting. In sex school, we did this activity on vulnerability and risk. And they asked all of us sex educators and sex therapists in schools to rank the most intimate of actions. And so we got a list of like 10 things, 15 things. And on it was like oral sex, penetrative sex, this, that, the other thing, eye contact, holding hands, all these types of things. The most intimate thing for all of these sex educators and sex therapists, we all did this activity blindly, anonymously, extended eye contact.
That's the most intimate thing? Okay.
It was just interesting.
Okay.
Lots of people said penetrative sex was not as intimate as oral sex. Lots of people said for themselves it didn't feel as intimate.
Okay.
I always say it's like mushing genitals together, right? Like you could technically, be spooning somebody from behind if you have a penis and have sex with them and not even make eye contact with them, right? Sure. You could bend somebody over and have sex with them and never make eye contact. It can be pretty separate.
Okay.
Could be, if you wanted to. You're not that type of person. You're not that type of lover. You're a very connected lover. And I do like it
Oh,
about
no,
you.
I need, like, if this is going out on the internet, I need to be on the record of, like, I will
You
bend
are.
you over and get from behind also.
You will.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I know. You also like connection.
Okay, but I wanted to set the record straight.
You're not just an ooey gooey lover.
Pardon us, technical issue, and we're back.
We are back. We got some coffee in between. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is, I think, is the heart of the matter for me, is that I want people who enjoy sex to have pleasurable sex for them. And many people with vulvas and vaginas do not orgasm from penetration alone. And I would like to set people free from this pressure to orgasm from penetration alone. And I would like to set people with penises free from the pressure that they think they need to make a person come with their penis alone. I would love for them to know that there are more tools in a toolbox and that it is absolutely okay to not know what you're doing in oral sex and be coached up by the person whose legs you're in between. That it's really hot to say, tell me what you like. Show me what you like, right? Move my hands, move my mouth. Does this feel good? It is okay to ask questions. In fact, it's incredibly arousing to have someone who's curious about your body and wants to get to know you. We say this every single podcast, I feel, but Betty Dodson said that women are conditioned to fear sex and men are conditioned to fear failing sex. And I want to blow it up. You don't need to be a pro, and it's okay to learn on the job. And I still think back to our initial sexual encounter and how lovely it was that I did not feel time pressured by you to come any kind of way. Like, I literally didn't. But I just remember thinking, thank God that he's willing to take his time with oral, because it shows like what type of human you are. It does communicate something.
Okay.
Like, oh, this person's patient. Oh, this person is interested in my pleasure. Oh, this person can communicate with me. Yeah, through my moans and through the yeses and that type of thing. Yeah. I'd like to move into the responsibility of the person with the vulva, the role they play in an orgasmic experience and a partner in sexual encounter. And I think that is not the person with the penis's job to do. Like, it's not, you don't need to come in and give me sexual self-confidence and sexual self-efficacy. That's mine to work on. And in my season, my hot slut era, I really did a lot of work on myself and on my pleasure and what orgasm felt like in my body, what buildup felt like in my body. I learned how to move my body in ways that feel really good. I learned how to chase my pleasure. And I also learned to be unabashed in it. Like, no, I'm going to get my orgasm and I'm not going to feel selfish. I think there's this constant tug and pull, which is why we love the 3-minute game so much, of what role am I playing here, right? Oh no, have I been taking too long? Do I need to give some? Oh no, have I been receiving too long? Do I need to serve, right? We can kind of get in our heads in that way. And I just remember thinking in our first sexual encounter, no, I'm gonna enjoy this and I'm going to chase the pleasure in this minute. And I think part of the reason I did it so much more easily than I had other times is because I didn't think I was ever going to see you again.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was like one night of hot sex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
we both had nowhere to be. Enjoy this, chase pleasure. You ever been in a hot tub with nothing to do, with no agenda?
Yeah.
And you just fucking stay in there. It's like the perfect temperature. It's not too hot. It's not too cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking have sex like that when you can.
Without like some agenda.
Yeah, without some agenda or expectation or I have to do this, I have to do that. You could bring your fucking laptop on the side of a hot tub and try to get a bunch of work emails done. Sure. But good fucking luck. There's a lot going against you.
Yeah.
So maybe just chill.
You know, that's fun. That brings up Dr. Laurie Mintz, who says that an entitlement to pleasure is a different focus than an entitlement to orgasm, because just by the nature of saying that puts some pressure to orgasm. And I like what you were just saying, because not every sexual encounter needs to end in orgasm for all parties. It just doesn't. We have times like that, right? Where we're like, I'm going to save mine. That's like one of our favorite phrases. And that is totally, totally okay as well.
Also, like while you're in the bedroom, while you're in the actual act of passionate lovemaking, you could ask the person, like, how do you want to orgasm? Or what's your, like, say if your first time, what's your favorite way to orgasm? Yeah, figure out some questions that are like really yummy to ask someone else.
Let's close out like that. Let's close out with like thinking of different questions that we ask in the act of passionate lovemaking. I like how you said that. Because I do think over the years that we've been together now, we have crafted some questions that we ask pretty regularly. And I don't think we discuss them enough, because we talk a ton in sex.
Yeah, we talk a lot just in general.
So much talking. What a warning. We do comfort check-ins. We'll say, are you comfy? Are you comfortable? But usually we say comfy. We shorten it a little bit.
And it's like, is your neck comfortable? Like, my hip is on your leg. Is that comfortable type stuff? Like, literally physically comfortable
You'll
in
ask,
this position.
You will ask me if you have recently shaven. If you have shaved your face recently, you'll say, is this too scratchy? Is the length of my beard okay? These things matter.
Softer kisses, or like be aware around the vulva or around the thighs.
I literally got like
face. Sure.
Not razor burn. I got like scratches on my leg the other day. It was kind of fun because
fucking hot.
I had requested it, but and it's interesting. We were chatting about how in the aroused body, I hadn't even felt how scratchy it was, but then it was funny later to be like, oh, look, I have scratches on my
Oh, it's literally an anti-inflammatory, because like certain like ouches in my shoulder or my hip gone during sex, and then it's like right when I come, it's like, fuck, my hip hurts.
The pain is still there. We'll do that. We'll say, do you need a pillow? We'll do lots of pillows. We do pillows behind backs and heads a lot, because I love you in like a slightly upright position when I am riding you. We do pillows under the bottom. We do pillows under the belly. We do lots of pillows. And so we will both ask and we'll say, can you put a pillow here?
Great.
I think that's a question we do.
Yeah. Great. Okay, now in the throes of passion. Does this feel good? That's a great one. What would you like to feel? You'll ask me like, hey, can you put a hand here? Can you put pressure here? Can you go in circles? Can you go up and down? Can you kiss me softly? Now I need you to kiss me really hard. Or sometimes we don't need to even say that, and we just do it. Ooh, okay. I'll kiss you hard, and you'll be like, ooh, I need soft kisses right now. I won't get fucking offended. I'll go, oh, she needs soft kisses now. And if you get offended, you need to work on that first. And then, how would you like to orgasm? Or does something like, does a position sound really lovely to you right now? Sometimes you feel like high energy or high, what's our word that we use? Our vigorous check-in or our...
resiliency.
Resiliency. So sometimes you're high resiliency, maybe 5 out of 5, where you could kick your foot through a fucking wall. And sometimes you're like 2 out of 5, where it's like, I need to lay here, or I need to turn on my side and do minimal effort. You don't need to do a resiliency check-in. Just voice your opinion on like what position. Active, passive. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of position check-ins.
Ooh, I need to. That's fun.
I was going to say, I think I do a lot of requesting of like, I need to get on top of you, or I need you on top of me. And that kind of feeds right into what you were saying of sometimes I want to like chase my pleasure, be the one in control. And then sometimes I really want to feel like the weight of your body. When I am low resiliency, sometimes I just want you on top of me, because that feels like this connected core from like top to bottom. is literally co-regulation at the same time as lovemaking.
Very rarely will orgasm at the same time. That's
Very rarely.
yeah,
God, we should be
that's
talking
when-
about that more often.
That's when
Yeah.
the stars align, when you actually come at the same time. Get the fuck out of here.
It has maybe happened like one hand
Yeah,
times.
correct.
Yeah, it's
So-
not something we chase.
Yeah, most of the time, Lauren will
Mm-hmm.
orgasm first, and then she'll ask me, like, how would you like to orgasm? So it could be the how would you like to orgasm question is to the individual.
100% we do that. Thanks, babe. We do a lot of question asking. Yeah, I would say 98 or 99% of the time, Trey prioritizes my orgasm first. And that really is beautiful to me because science, it takes 20 to 40 minutes for most people with a vulva to become fully aroused, and only 3 to 5 minutes for a penis to usually achieve ejaculation. So it allows me to just feel like I have all the time in the world, and that he is, when the penis ejaculates and then it goes through a refractory period, and so it loses the erection and all of these types of things too, which is hard to maintain stimulation. So if Trey was to come and then go through a refractory period, also science, nothing wrong with him, it is hard for the vulva to be like, oh, wait a second, there's now like a flaccid penis, and what do I do with this? And is this, it's harder. It is harder.
Yeah, right back at me. What do I do with this? It's a flaccid penis.
What do I do?
This fucking penis is done.
Yeah, the other day we had a sexual encounter and you came first because it was so hot.
Yeah,
it was
it's
like
great.
so hot you couldn't like keep yourself from coming.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, wow, this hasn't happened in a long time.
It was a novelty.
And so then we still chased. Still.
Oh yeah, like I shoved it in there, and I tried to move, and like there's a technique where you squeeze your ass a little bit, like a power lifter, but eventually that penis, it just goes back into its shell.
Yeah, did I get my vibrator? I think I got a vibrator. There's always, listen, y'all,
Yeah,
vibrators.
you busted out technology.
Oh, that's the thing we sometimes ask is, do you want to get a vibrator?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or I'm going to get my vibrator. I don't know if I ever ask you, can I get a vibrator?
Oh, and fellas, yeah, get your lady a vibrator, because like sometimes when you just need a quick nut, it really helps. Do you ever gone through a fast food drive-through? It's like that, guys. Let's get back to this one.
I think we've talked about this in other episodes, but do you feel ever offended by the presence of a vibrator?
No, fuck no. I love it. It's very kinky to me. Yeah.
You don't feel like your masculinity is threatened?
Dude, this is how it is. In Major League Baseball, where there's a starting pitcher, and then if you could bring in another pitcher at the same time and then have two mounds and then throw at one batter, I mean, the catcher, it's going to drive him fucking nuts. But good luck with that guy getting a hit. Sometimes you just need a buddy. An electric buddy. What, you don't have a smartphone? You still using a rotary dial-up? Get the fuck out of here. You just paying with cash? You don't have a card? You have that little boop, that little swipey thing now? Convenient as hell. You don't use Apple Pay? Make sure and follow us on Spotify. See, motherfucker? How are you listening to this right now? Deet, 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 deet. You doing fucking Morse code? We trying to find U-boats? No. Use the technology. I think we need to wrap this up.
This is my favorite part of the podcast so far.
Just go off the rails.
Yeah, vibrators, all the things. I think getting curious, it's interesting. One of my favorite, that's what I wanted you to listen to. We'll do that next time. I stumbled on a great podcast by one of my favorite neuroscientists, and she's talking about curiosity and what it does in our brain and our bodies. And I want to talk about that next time. So this would be a perfect launching place. Yeah, ask questions, y'all, and don't be afraid of oral sex, and don't be afraid to chase pleasure. We've talked about Betty Dodson's rock and roll on here. I often, when I close out with this, rock my body during oral sex. I don't just lay there and receive Trey's masterful techniques that if you were watching the Spotify or the YouTube, you just got to witness. Movement, communication, not fearing failure are recipes for success in oral sex. Thank you for being here for another episode of the Partnership Podcast. Hope you benefited in some way, shape, or form. If you didn't, that's fine. You can move on and find a better podcast. Remember, these are opinions. And yes,
I'd move on and find a better podcast if I were you.
Some research splashed in there. If you want to know more about how to give or receive oral sex, you can, of course, request a free consult with me by going to sexedforyou.com/free consult. I would love to talk to you more. These are some of my favorite topics. Obviously, Trey's too. Remember that you have a right to informed decision making. You have a right to form your own opinions, which is why we always say, go form your own. Don't take ours. This is our lived experience, and that's all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, y'all. Bye.